Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about coding and utilizing cones in box fights and why they're so much more important and why I think they're actually better than ramps. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this video is going to be broken up into two parts, guys. The first part, we're going to be talking about why cones are, like, you should always have a cone in your box whenever you make a new box. This applies to like box fighting maps, like box fight wagers, and in real games, and why you should probably get used to having a cone in your box. And the second part is why you should be coding your opponent when you're trying to Mongo classic them instead of ramping, why you should be putting a cone and why you should be replacing like opponent's ramps with cones. So let's go ahead and get started with the first part. So you're in a 1-by-1, kind of chilling like this. Now we're going to go over why you should have a cone in this box. So this is mostly going to be more concerned with like close quarters box fighting. We're not going to talk so much about like long range peaks and stuff, although having a cone can be extensively useful for many different reasons in that case as well. But mostly we're just going to be talking about like close quarters box fighting. So what's like the main big advantage of having a cone? Well, having a cone in your box is like the big part of it is that it's a massive part of like piece control. So when an opponent takes your wall, and this can happen to anyone, even like I'm on like 2 ping right now, I can still lose walls. And whenever this happens, the last thing you want is an opponent to get a ramp or a cone into your box. That's not yours. So previously, I've seen people say before that you shouldn't cone your own box because if you lose the wall, it takes longer to press your edit, drag these 2 tiles and get this up, or drag these 2 and do this, which is much slower than if you realize you lose the wall, you go like this and you have your own ramp in a box. However, most of the time when you lose the wall, you're not really going to have time to react, especially if you're not used to losing walls. An opponent is most likely going to get a cone or ramp in your box, so it's actually better to have like pre-existing builds so they can't do that. I'll say if they lose it, they're probably going to make this edit. And right away, guys, you can just counter this, right? Making some quick edits to kind of like protect yourself. So that's like a massive part of piece control. The cone also provides different opportunities for peaks. And in terms of short range box fighting, I'm talking about this specific peak right here. So having a cone here actually enables you to hit your head on the wall and get pop shots, and your opponent actually cannot see you if you do this exact peak like that. So that's just like another use of cones. Kanada was talking about this on stream yesterday. This is a peak he likes to do. And he actually is a big advocate of always having a cone in your box. So quick recap is piece control, so your opponent cannot take over this piece because it's super important, and we're going to be talking about more about why in a little bit when we move over to that box and why you should cone opponent's boxes. But it's really piece control, and it allows for like slightly different peaks. So yeah. So now we're going to be talking about why you should always cone an opponent's box. So when you first take the thing, people are probably used to doing this, which is often referred to as a Mongo classic. It's when you take an opponent's wall and then ramp them, flip the ramp, and shoot them. However, recently pros have started coding opponents' boxes a lot, and the reason for this is that, one, it's actually quicker. So that is actually, like in every single possible way, quicker than this, because as you guys know, placing a cone and then shooting, placing a build and shooting is quicker than placing a build, editing the build, and then shooting. Another thing is, when you edit the build, there's a chance that if you do the wrong edit, like if your muscle memory is used to making this edit, for example, and your opponent's over here, the opponent's going to be behind the ramp, and suddenly they have time to go, oh, I'm going to get out, or, oh, I'm going to get out, things like that. Or obviously, if you do it this way as well, this could also be a problem. However, if you cone an opponent, they have nowhere to run, right? And this is also another important part. When you ramp over an opponent and flip the ramp, even if you get it, you might get a shot on them, they might get a shot on you, whatever. If you're not on like the ground floor, they can simply edit themselves out. And most people will do this when they realize that they've been ramped over, they're gonna edit down straight away. That's the first place they're gonna be looking because they don't want to edit out the sides. So placing a cone there means that the opponent cannot escape from the bottom because you're stuck here. This isn't your cone. You can't edit down, right? Get a free shot, close the box, and suddenly you have them trapped in a box. And now this forces them to go out one of the sides, and obviously you're always going to have time to get a free shot on them because their main priority will be thinking of escaping. Also, an opponent, especially one that is less skilled, will probably panic because if you think about it, when you're stuck here in a box, this isn't your cone, so you can't place any ramp here. This isn't your wall. The opponent can open it up at any time. That's pretty terrifying. And sometimes even skilled opponents might choke an edit or choke a play when you manage to like cone them and get a cone in their box. So that's really why you should go for a cone in an opponent's box. So kind of like that. That's much quicker than trying to get a ramp in. Alright, now let's talk about the final part of this video, which is actually after you take the wall, they manage to ramp themselves off in time. before they edit out, and they will probably try to edit out, not make a ramp play on you. That's really like rare. Most people will try to do this, right? Edit the ramp and shoot. Now, for the same reasons I mentioned over there, and also for another one, it's actually better to go ahead and replace this with a cone. So let's say, there's an opponent behind here. I go bam. That's much quicker than like replacing this with a ramp and flipping it. And opponents are also almost always expecting you to replace this with like a ramp because cones are super underused in box fights. So actually replacing this build with a sudden cone can throw them really off guard because they're expecting to have like an extra second and like another ramp over them, so you might be preparing like this edit or something. But suddenly coning them, they're gonna get really surprised. So right now at the end of the video, I'm gonna edit and show, like edit in a few of the clips when I start like using cones in box fight wagers and stuff, and you guys are gonna see just how effective it is to cone opponents or replace ramps with cones. So yeah, that's gonna be all for today's video. Hope you guys learned something, and even if you didn't, I hope you guys realize now that using cones can be way more effective in box fights than ramps. That's going to be all for today's video, guys. I'm really close to 250 subs, which is actually really great. So thank you guys for that. And yeah, peace out from your boy.